Feedback Learnex. English forever.
Gobble gobble everyone! Happy Thanksgiving! Today we're going to take a look a little bit about the history of Thanksgiving. It's a holiday filled with tradition, with different foods, with tastes, flavors from different countries combined in one to be celebrated and to give thanks. So stay tuned. Prayers of thanks and special Thanksgiving ceremonies are common among almost all religions after harvest and at other times. The Thanksgiving holiday's history in North America is rooted in English traditions dating from the Protestant Reformation. It also has aspects of a harvest festival, even though the harvest in New England occurs well before the late November date on which the modern Thanksgiving holiday is celebrated. In many American households, the Thanksgiving celebration has lost much of its original religious significance. Instead, it now centers on cooking and sharing a bountiful meal with family and friends. Turkey, a Thanksgiving staple so ubiquitous it has become all but synonymous with the holiday, may or may not have been on offer when the Pilgrims hosted the inaugural feast in 1621. Today, however, nearly 90% of Americans eat the bird, whether roasted, baked, or deep fried, on Thanksgiving Day. While no records actually exist of the exact bill of fare, the Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow noted in his journal that the colony's governor, William Bradford, sent 4 men on a fowling mission in preparation for the 3-day event. Wild, but not domestic turkey was indeed plentiful in the region and a common food source for both English settlers and Native Americans. But it is just as likely that the fowling party returned with other birds we know the colonists regularly consumed, such as ducks, geese, and swans. Instead of bread-based stuffing, herbs, onions, or nuts might have been added to the birds for extra flavor. Beginning in the mid-20th century and perhaps even earlier, the President of the United States has pardoned 1 or 2 Thanksgiving turkeys each year, sparing the birds from slaughter and sending them to a farm for retirement. A number of U.S. governors also performed the annual turkey pardoning ritual. Fruits indigenous to the region included blueberries, plums, grapes, gooseberries, raspberries, and of course, cranberries, which Native Americans ate and used as a natural dye. The Pilgrims might have been familiar with cranberries by the first Thanksgiving, but they wouldn't have made sauces and relishes with the tart orbs. That's because the sacks of sugar that traveled across the Atlantic on the Mayflower were nearly or fully depleted by November of 1621. Cooks didn't begin boiling cranberries with sugar and using the mixture as an accompaniment for meats until about 50 years later. Whether mashed or roasted, white or sweet, potatoes had no place at the first Thanksgiving. After encountering it in its native South America, the Spanish began introducing the potato to Europeans around 1570. But by the time the Pilgrims boarded the Mayflower, the tuber had neither doubled back to North America nor become popular enough with the English to hitch a ride. New England's native inhabitants are known to have eaten other plant roots such as Indian turnips or groundnuts, which they may or may not have brought to the party. Both the Pilgrims and members of the Wampanoag tribe ate pumpkins and other squashes indigenous to New England, possibly even during the harvest festival. But the fledgling colony lacked the butter and wheat flour necessary for making pie crust. Moreover, settlers hadn't yet constructed an oven for baking. According to some accounts, early English settlers in North America improvised by hollowing out pumpkins, filling the shells with milk, honey, and spices to make a custard, then roasting the gourds whole in hot ashes. Enough about food. I'm literally getting the itis thinking about all those delights. Volunteering is a common Thanksgiving Day activity, and communities often hold food drives and host free dinners for the less fortunate. Parades have also become an integral part of the holiday in cities and towns across the United States. Presented by Macy's department store since 1924, New York City's Thanksgiving Day Parade is the largest and most famous, attracting some 2 to 3 million spectators along its 2.5-mile route and drawing an enormous television audience. It typically features marching bands, performers, elaborate floats conveying various celebrities, and giant balloons shaped like cartoon characters. The 1621 Thanksgiving celebration marked the Pilgrims' first autumn harvest, so it is likely that the colonists feasted on the bounty they had reaped with the help of their Native American neighbors. Local vegetables that likely appeared on the table included onions, beans, lettuce, spinach, cabbage, carrots, and perhaps peas. Corn, which records show was plentiful at the first harvest, might also have been served, but not in the way most people enjoy it now. In those days, the corn would have been removed from the cob and turned into cornmeal, which was then boiled and pounded into a thick corn mush or porridge that was occasionally sweetened with molasses. One thing is for sure, regardless of the food or household that celebrates this occasion, traditions vary from house to house, but run deep in thanks, bounty, and praise of the things that they have and are grateful for, and focus not on the things that they do not have. After everything you learned today, have you given thanks for something yet? Well, make sure that before today's over, you give thanks for something you're thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Feedback Learnex, English Forever. Estamos en sintonía. Feedback Learnex, English Forever. English Forever.